My fiance said I wasn't worthy of being his wife, took the ring, kicked me out that night. I thought he destroyed me. 6 months later, he saw me again and realized he'd created his biggest mistake. I stared at the engagement ring on my finger, its diamond catching the harsh fluorescent light of Elliot's kitchen. He'd been pacing for 10 minutes, his jaw tight, hands clenched. Ruby. His voice carried that familiar edge I'd learned to fear. I've been thinking. My stomach dropped. Those 4 words never led anywhere good with Elliot. He stopped pacing, turned to face me with cold eyes. You're not worthy of being my wife. The words hit like a physical blow. I gripped the counter behind me, feeling the world tilt sideways. What? The whisper barely escaped my throat. You heard me. He crossed his arms, studying me like a disappointing purchase. I've tried to mold you into someone suitable, but you're just not enough. You'll never be enough. I watched him methodically list my failures. Too emotional, too independent, too opinionated. Each word carved deeper into whatever confidence I'd managed to salvage over our 3-year relationship. The wedding's off. He held out his hand expectantly. I need the ring back. My fingers trembled as I twisted the band. It had felt heavy for months, but now it felt like a shackle I was desperate to remove. The metal slipped off easily, leaving a pale indent on my finger. He pocketed it without ceremony. You should probably find somewhere else to stay tonight. I nodded numbly, gathering my purse with shaking hands. At the door, I turned back once. Elliot had already moved to his laptop, dismissing me from his life as easily as deleting an email. The cool evening air hit my face as I stepped outside. For the first time in years, I had nowhere I was supposed to be, no one whose approval I needed to seek. The strangest thing happened as I walked to my car. Instead of the crushing despair I expected, something else stirred in my chest, something that felt almost like relief. My apartment felt foreign after 3 years of barely living in it. I'd spent most nights at Elliot's place, slowly erasing myself to fit into his world. Now, surrounded by my own things, I barely recognized the woman who'd chosen this colorful throw pillow, that quirky lamp. I called in sick to work and spent the day rediscovering my space. In the back of my closet, I found clothes Elliot had deemed inappropriate, a flowing sundress, boots with personality, a leather jacket that made me feel bold. I tried them on, studying myself in the mirror. The woman looking back wasn't the diminished version Elliot had created. She had fire in her eyes, color in her cheeks. She looked like someone worth knowing. My phone buzzed with a text from my sister Maya. How's the wedding planning going? I stared at the screen for a long moment, then typed back, There's no wedding. Elliot ended it. My phone rang immediately. Ruby? What happened? Are you okay? I paused, surprising myself. I think I'm going to be better than okay. Maya's silence stretched before she said carefully, Do you want me to come over? Actually, I want to go out. Somewhere I've never been with him. The new coffee shop on Pine Street? I've been dying to try it. Perfect. Give me an hour. I showered, letting the hot water wash away the last 3 years. When I stepped out, I felt lighter somehow. In the mirror, I practiced smiling. A real smile, not the careful, appeasing expression I'd perfected for Elliot. Getting dressed, I chose the sundress and boots. Bold choices. My choices. For the first time since I could remember, I was excited to see what came next. The coffee shop buzzed with afternoon energy. Maya had claimed a corner table, already nursing a latte and grinning at my outfit choice. You look like yourself again, she said as I sat down. I'd forgotten who that was. While Maya ordered me a cappuccino, I pulled out a notebook I'd impulsively grabbed from home. The pages were blank. I'd bought it months ago, but never found the courage to write in it under Elliot's watchful disapproval of my silly hobbies. What's that? Maya returned with my coffee. I used to write, before. I opened to the first page, pen hovering. Maybe I could start again. What would you write about? I thought for a moment, then began writing a letter to my past self. Words flowed onto the page, reassurances, apologies, promises. I wrote about recognizing manipulation, about learning to trust my own voice again. Excuse me? I looked up to find a man about my age standing beside our table. He had kind eyes and an easy smile, holding a coffee cup like he wasn't quite sure what to do with his hands. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I couldn't help noticing your writing. I'm Wyatt. I own the bookstore next door. Are you working on something? Maya kicked me gently under the table. I felt heat rise in my cheeks. Just personal stuff. Nothing interesting. I doubt that. His smile was genuine, no agenda behind it. The way you were writing, like the words were important. That's how real writers look. Something in his tone made me believe he meant it. Not flattery, just observation. Would you like to sit? Maya asked, shooting me a look. Wyatt glanced at me for permission. I nodded, surprised by my own boldness. I'd like that. As he settled into the chair across from me, I noticed how he moved, unhurried, comfortable in his own skin. Everything about him felt different from Elliot's sharp edges and calculated charm. So, Wyatt said, tell me about this writing. For the first time in years, someone was asking about me. Not judging, not correcting, just genuinely curious. I found myself talking, really talking, about words and stories and dreams I'd buried. 3 weeks later, Wyatt and I had fallen into an easy rhythm. Coffee dates, bookstore visits, long walks where we talked about everything except my recent past. He never pressed, never demanded explanations for my careful boundaries. I brought you something, he said, sliding a small package across our usual table. Inside was a vintage camera, compact and beautiful. I traced its silver edges with my finger. It's perfect, but I can't. Before you say no, he interrupted gently. Let me explain. I found it at an estate sale. The owner was a photographer who traveled the world, capturing stories. I thought maybe you'd like to capture your own. I lifted the camera, feeling its weight. Through the viewfinder, the coffee shop looked different, full of possibilities, stories waiting to be told. I haven't taken photos since college. What did you love about it then? I considered his question. The way you could freeze a moment, make it permanent, show people how beautiful ordinary things could be. Sounds like you still love it. That afternoon, we walked through the downtown area. I found myself seeing through the camera's eye again, the way afternoon light painted brick walls gold, how strangers' faces told stories, the poetry in everyday moments. Look, I said, showing Wyatt a photo of an elderly couple sharing a bench, their hands intertwined. 60 years together, he observed. You can see it in how they sit. How do you know? They come into my shop every Tuesday. He reads her poetry while she picks out mysteries. They move like they're still discovering each other. I studied the image on the camera's small screen. In my old relationship, I'd documented nothing. Elliot preferred we exist without evidence, without permanence. Wyatt? I looked up at him. Thank you for seeing me. He stopped walking, turned to face me fully. Ruby, you're not hard to see. You're just used to people who chose not to look. Something shifted in my chest. Not the desperate gratitude I'd felt with Elliot's rare kindness, but something steadier, something that felt like coming home. Maya's wedding day arrived with perfect September weather. I stood in the bridal suite, adjusting her veil while she radiated happiness. You look beautiful, I told her, meaning it. So do you. She squeezed my hand. I'm so glad you brought Wyatt. Ruby? Maya followed my gaze. Oh. It's fine. I straightened my shoulders. He can't hurt me anymore. But my hands shook as I touched the key to my new apartment in my purse. a symbol of the independence I'd fought to rebuild. Wyatt had helped me move last weekend, never questioning why I needed space to heal, never pushing for more than I could give. The ceremony was beautiful. I watched Maya and James exchange vows, promise to support each other's dreams, to grow together rather than diminish each other. Real love, I realized. This was what it looked like. At the reception, I danced with Wyatt, feeling safe in his arms. Over his shoulder, I saw Elliot approaching. "Ruby." His voice carried that old authority. "We need to talk." I stepped back from Wyatt but didn't let go of his hand. "There's nothing to discuss." "You look different." Elliot's eyes narrowed. "This new phase won't last. You'll realize you need someone who can guide you." "I needed someone who could see me," I said quietly. "You never did." "And he does?" Elliot's laugh was cold. "You're deluding yourself." Wyatt's hand tightened gently around mine. Not possessive, just supportive. I found my voice, stronger than before. "You're right about one thing. I am different. I remember who I was before you tried to erase me." Elliot's face darkened. "You'll regret this." "The only thing I regret is waiting so long to leave." He stalked away, and I felt something settle in my chest. The final piece of his power over me, gone. "You okay?" Wyatt asked. I looked up at him, this man who celebrated my strength instead of fearing it. "I'm perfect." 6 months later, I stood in the doorway of what would soon be our shared home. Wyatt carried the last box from his bookstore apartment, setting it down beside my camera equipment and writing desk. "Strange how everything fits together," he said, surveying our combined belongings. I picked up a photo from my latest series, candid shots of couples around town, each image capturing genuine connection. The gallery downtown wanted to display them next month. "I never thought I'd be brave enough for this again," I admitted. Wyatt moved behind me, his arms encircling my waist. Not trapping, just holding. "What changed?" I leaned back against him, thinking. "I learned the difference between being loved for who you could become and being loved for who you are." In the kitchen, I found the letter I'd written to myself that first day at the coffee shop. The words seemed to glow on the page. "You are worthy of love that doesn't require you to shrink. You are worthy of partnership that celebrates your voice, not silences it." "What's that?" Wyatt asked, reading over my shoulder. "A promise I made to myself." He was quiet for a moment. "Did you keep it?" I looked around our new space, my photos on the walls, his books on every surface, the camera he'd given me displayed prominently on the mantel. Evidence of a life built on mutual respect, shared dreams, authentic connection. "I'm still keeping it." That evening, we sat on our front porch, sharing takeout and planning our garden. Simple moments that felt extraordinary because they were chosen freely, without fear or manipulation. My phone buzzed with a text from Maya. "How's the new place?" I took a photo of Wyatt laughing at something on his phone, golden hour light painting him warm and beautiful. Real, present, mine by choice, not conquest. "Perfect," I typed back. "Everything is perfect." And for the first time in my adult life, I meant it completely. I had learned to recognize love that didn't diminish, partnership that didn't require surrender of self. I had found home in my own strength and chosen to share it with someone who honored that gift. The key to our front door felt solid in my palm, not a symbol of possession, but of belonging. To this place, to this man, to this version of myself, I'd fought so hard to reclaim and protect. I was worthy. I had always been worthy. Now I finally believed it.